So I'm curious. I'm curious. With the Texas is a really interesting state for COVID to be happening in because I'm not sure how many states exist where the governor is saying something completely different than what. I mean, I'm sure it is pretty common actually, but rather the mayor is saying something that's contradictory to what the governor is saying essentially, right?
Yes.
This is what you know so far.
Yes. So Governor Abbott, as far as I can tell from work, what they've said is that legally, the city of Austin cannot enforce any rules that the governor has said no to.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it's a legal situation, but it is
It's a legal situation.
it's a legal it's a very legal situation. But it yeah, no, it definitely lots of conflict, like from like a local perspective, um, because Austin is saying something different from what the state of Texas is saying.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
So my question that's kind of interesting. I just want to preface this with I'm an idiot.
No, you're not.
Yeah, thanks. So what is that called? Self
Flagellation.
Yeah, flagellation. But like that now it sounds completely inauthentic. So I'm a fucking dick now. My question is, do you think you're pro anarchy, right? We'll get into this another time. But I guess okay. So
I mean,
it's
yeah.
just the because it's related to this question where it's like you're interested in an in certain form of anarchist faction. So I'm curious because the governor is pretty much given the choice of you can do whatever the hell you want, and the city's also saying, well, you should do this. It's recommending you do stage 5 type of shit. Do you think that we have a good experiment right now where anarchy is kind of present in Austin? In a light version? I don't know, it's just kind of a general thought. Like light anarchy because people have the direct choice to choose, nothing's being held no one's being held accountable for either decision they make kind of. Besides businesses that are requiring masks.
Well, so anarchy is no government
At all.
whatsoever.
But like, do you think this is kind of light anarchy at all?
Well, so it's funny you say that because so there's, so like a light government, not in the example of
Like conservative.
so sort of that, but anarchy in this sorry. Anarchy is no government, but then there's minarchists, which are as little government as possible.
Okay.
To say that this is anywhere near minarchy or anarchy is
Okay.
It's not anywhere close.
It's just
to
more
that.
conservative than anything.
It's
because it's like little government interaction. With,
I mean, I would say the route of leaving the choice to the people is, I guess, I don't know, conservative or, I mean, it's socially liberal in the sense of you're saying, oh, well, we want the people to choose what they want to do, and which I am for.
Sure. That's why I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that is definitely a foundation of anarchy where you let people do what they want, but I mean, of course, it's a very complicated thing. I guess I'm confused about. So yeah, could you just like rephrase?
I mean, my general question
again?
was just because, like, I know that. By the way, welcome to the Anarchists Monday.
Yes, dude.
Bringing, what we're trying to do here. This is a sub podcast of another one that I'll be starting called Splain It. And so this is Anarchist Monday, where we'll be bringing you episodes every single Monday, where I try to understand what the hell anarchy is about. I guess we should introduce ourselves. I'm currently with K.
K.
What is your middle name? Nah, not far off. Yeah,
As the French say.
not far off. JKL, actually.
And you are?
I am, and I am the founder and first president of Productions. And
It's an honor. It's an honor.
I don't know what I believe personally, because a stand-up bit I've been doing is that I'm a child of divorce, and because of that, I just want all sides to agree. And if I don't do this, I'll probably get super depressed because I don't know how to handle anyone having differing thoughts. It's like, stop fighting.
Well, dude, dude, that's honestly like such a good jumping point. Like, for the reason why I really found anarchy appealing, and this is like being dead serious, is that there are ways to let you let people believe what they want to believe and live the lives that they want to live. And anarchy is a relationship. And what that means is that we can have communication. We can do dealings with each other to the extent of which you and I want to do business, at what level we want to do business at, and what our ground rules are. And what that allows for is that people with varying beliefs, when they're so polarized like we have today, the ideal anarchist situation is that you can go and do what you believe and find others who believe in what you believe and go do that, and I can find the people that I agree with or agree with me, and we can do what we believe, and in that regard we can not have a conflict based on ideology, and all of the conflict is diminished into a trading and all of that stuff. Like, who am I to say you should live your life that way? Who are you to say I should live my life this way? And if they're so different, we shouldn't be forced to live together in the same place or the same nation or the same state that makes us abide by rules that we don't agree with.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to give the disclaimer though, like, I don't know 100% of what I'm talking about, but that is how far I have gotten, and like how I think it's the workaround in a way.
Yeah, sure.
Of like you have half of the country who wants it this way.
This is what I was gonna bring up. It's kind
Yeah.
of like, this is what you've talked about, where it's 50%. Like, why does 50% of the country have to deal with a president they didn't vote for?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's this whole thing about voting and everything, but it really is. If we just agree at a fundamental level, why should we be forced to live together in the same society? And I kind of think that the states were supposed to be like that. Like, America wasn't this idea of, oh, we're this America. No, we're Georgia. Oh, we're Rhode Island. Oh, we're New York, whatever.
What's interesting is people, if you were to say, like, if people hear Texas, especially if they say, I think it's Texas first, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah.
People have, at least like East Coasters, have like an issue with Texas, like, loving their state more than the country. Maybe other southern states don't have that problem, but a lot of New England states are like, I mean, maybe they do see them as, like, obviously we see ourselves as Rhode Islanders, Vermonters, whatever, but, like, for whatever reason, I don't know. There's some people who are like, oh, like, you're putting your state before your country, when, like, perhaps that's maybe how we should do it, especially since it's the things that affect us locally.
Well, it was designed that way. The only reason why,
I mean, the internet.
I mean, that's kind of like a global, a global kind of thing, as well as a nation thing. Just my point about the states, that you had states who wanted to, they wanted sovereignty from the king, and that's why they that's why the colonies gained their independence from England. And then the next kind of situation that they ran into is, well, we're all our own states, how do we work together? There has to be some
Right?
agreement.
How can we be how can we help each other? Because we're all here.
Yeah, but also how do we rule ourselves?
Sure.
Because that's what we want. We want
Gotcha.
This is our state of Massachusetts, and we're gonna do it this way, and that's the whole deal.
And we've obviously gotten. I mean, they got away from that even with the Constitution eventually, I guess, right? Is that kind of where it's in? I don't know. And all the compromises of like the New Jersey Compromise versus what the Virginia.
Well, a lot of
shit.
a lot of that, what that had to do with was the fact that the states had to do dealings with each other
Gotcha.
to help each other
Right,
out.
right.
And so there needed to be some universal form of consensus
Mm-hmm.
to get along, like currency. So what happened when the 13 colonies finally broke away is they were like, cool, we can just rule ourselves, which they started to, but they ran into like a problem of currency.
Yeah, sure.
Where we're like, oh, we have,
Consistency.
yeah, and I'm just making this up, like, Rhode Island has the Rhode Island buck, and then, New York has the New York buck or whatever, but we can't, we can't trade in the right way because we have our different currencies. So that's like a legitimate situation that arises where, okay, we have to agree on that. But for the most part, the states wanted to rule themselves. It was dual sovereignty.
Sure.
That the states, the colonies had their own independence, but then they eventually had to agree to, we need our sovereignty of the one nation because of conveniency in a lot of ways, geographically. And that's how that kind of came up. So, what was the original question?
Is this like tiny anarchism in Texas?
I would say
Because here's
that-
why
so
I'm
you-
getting to
yeah,
it,
Texas,
and this
yeah.
is so
Yeah.
we're figuring out what the flow of this podcast is. It's gonna be quick bites of it because I
Cool.
think
I think
too
that's
much
perfect.
anarchy will make my head hurt and I'll cry.
Cool.
If we're seeing like crazy spikes of like hospital beds being taken up by people who are Texans, and because they're going out and they're making just a free will decision to decide, I don't want to get vaccinated because that's my choice, and I don't want to stay in because that's also my choice. We're living with the results of those choices, right? And even they are living. I mean, we're all whatever because it's a kind of it's affecting more people. So I guess would anarchy give something better if we were handling this different, or I'm not sure how to ask this, or I don't know. It just seems like it's anarchy to me, to my limited knowledge of it, where it's like you're giving people free will choice, and they're making the choice, and that choice is having perhaps bad consequences, and so it's like, what do we do with that? I don't know. It's not the best. It's not the most eloquent. question.
No, I kind of get what you're saying. It's a difficult situation. Sorry, to get back to the whole states thing, the colonization. Well, the part of that doesn't make it anarchy is the fact that there are states with their state governments. So anarchy is no government whatsoever.
Right.
But the whole purpose of that is that when you allow, not whole purpose, but the reason why that is such is because it's not letting the people loose to do as they see fit, and because of the constrictions of the state government, and then eventually the national government, the federal government.
Well, so I guess, but isn't it possible to have some anarchic ideas in a democracy, just like it's possible to have like socialist ideals?
We have anarcho-capitalism. I mean, we've tried to implement anarcho-capitalism to its.
Do you think some people could see this as anarcho-capitalism? This decision to have like a disagreement, like because it's almost like it's not agreed that it's become an anarchist ideal, but a situation perhaps. But it seems like because of these two opposing things, it sort of created anarchy, and maybe it's created anarchy in the sense that you don't subscribe to anarchy. But am I kind of visual and like which is just a basic definition of understanding of anarchy is chaos, let's say. It's seeming like a little bit of chaos right now.
Mm.
So I guess that's where it comes
Well,
from.
anarchism, the definition is without order or
Gotcha.
without rulers.
Which is that definitely chaos then, or no?
I would say it doesn't equal chaos,
Right. That's
because
super interesting.
because humans naturally. The example of the currency that can be used in the, so you have all the colonies, they have their established currencies that they're like, oh, we're just going to use this, and all of a sudden they run into this problem of like, well, we're not using the same currency, which all of that is about, that currency is a human, a natural occurrence because of the necessity
Sure.
to have that,
Sure.
convenience and
Right.
and all that stuff.
But don't you need someone in charge to like kind of like how do you get everyone to agree on that without having a government?
Well, it becomes a necessity as opposed to someone saying we're going to use this
Okay,
currency. It's just
so-
this natural. What do you call? What's this, something in the road?
Fork?
Like no, well maybe, but obstacle. Sorry, that's stupid. But it's a natural obstacle. You go, I can't deal with you if we don't have the same currency.
So how do you? So what would be the most closest version of anarchy dealing with that?
Dealing with vaccines?
No,
or-
dealing with the currency.
Well, you have to seek out what is within your common interests. Like, so if I really,
What does that mean?
well, so if I really want to do dealings with you,
Yeah.
we have to agree upon, consensually agree upon something that is of value to both of us. So you need something and I need something. What is that? If I give you bucks, that's not going to have any value in the state of.
Uh-huh.
But if we say water, I have access to water, lots of fresh water
Yeah.
resources, and you don't.
Yeah.
Well, now what do you have that? So it becomes.
So it becomes bartering.
Yeah, bartering.
So do you think bartering's closer to like proper anarchy than actual currency?
It depends how you mean bartering.
Because I don't-
Because there's a definition of bartering. I don't know what that is.
Well, bartering's just I mean, the issue that comes with bartering, as I understand it, is that like if someone has beer and then like they want to get some bread, their beer is not the same. Like they would have to buy a shit ton of bread, and they're like, well, I don't need this much bread for my beer. You know what I mean? Because it took more work for me to make this beer than your bread. So technically, like one beer is like one bread, maybe
Like,
maybe
yeah.
12 loaves of bread. You know?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's where the market starts to determine the value
Sure.
of such items.
Yeah.
I would say that that's a really good question that I would probably have to look into, because
Great.
it's like, you have a resource, I have a resource, we can trade that off, but then how do we start to come together and find a balanced situation that then affects like the marketplace of my situation versus your situation. And that's kind of, I will say, right there is the extent of the devil in the details of that. But I feel like I kind of explained. I mean,
I think so.
You understand.
I do, yeah.
Dude, but I really want to address the whole vaccine thing, because, okay, so outside of the vaccine, I would say, sorry, not outside of the vaccination process of a state, leaving it up to the people to do what they do, I think is the best way to do things, because you will have people who thrive no matter what. When you start to bring in the government and the government tells people what to do, it restricts the flow of ideas and the creativity of the people. So when it comes to the vaccine, maybe you can come to I mean, you can come.
Maybe there's just another way we're not looking at it, because it's. And then here's the thing. Obviously,
Right.
it's not being mandated. Like, right? It's just
Yes.
being. It's just now there is the social pariahism or something that's being instead, which might be worse. I don't really know.
Right.
But
I mean, the impacts of it, though. So, I mean,
it's essentially just like there's more than one way to solve something, and you think that we're not exhausting all ways of solving
yes,
it. Maybe
I would say absolutely. My qualms is the mandating of it, though.
well, it's not being mandated
For
though.
sure. Well, no, yeah, but I mean,
It's being like socially
it's
mandated.
yes. Well, yes,
That's your
it's-
issue with it.
Yes, I believe that free will necessitates what you can and cannot do with your body.
Sure.
If I can't do what I want to do with my body,
Mm-hmm.
what's the point? What is the point of doing anything because it's just the body of government or the collective telling me what to do? These are the issues that there's always risks when you go out into the world. So now if you want to say that the essentialness of getting vaccinated affects the collective.
Yeah.
So that is a very good point.
Sure.
But now you get into the nitty-gritty of what is ethically right to do.
Sure.
So do you make people who don't want to do something with their bodies do something with their bodies that they don't want to do? And that helps everyone? Does that really help everyone? There's a
Sure.
psychological kind of thing to it. But I really do want to address though the idea of, well, I have to do something to help somebody else. I think that's kind of, if you have to ask me, if you have to force me to do anything that I mean, if you have to ask me to do something that I cannot do of my own free will, that is the line of morality and ethics that I don't think it is right to cross. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have to force me or ask me to do something that I can't do myself, I think that's when you're doing something unethical.
Interesting. I think that's a good place to call it.
wrap it up.
There'll be more on this next Monday.
Monday morning is what
So this is an Anarchist Monday, subtitled
Anarchy Monday.
"My Roommate the Anarchist."
I hope I did a good job.
I mean, I think it.
Post below on the YouTube page.
there's-
Any questions? Tell me if I'm wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong. Thanks.
This is my best friend, and he's really given me an impasse here
You're my best friend.
of living within. No, it's a good struggle. It's a good tension test. We have 1 year to decide if we want to keep living with each other.
Oh my God.
And this podcast will be the metric by which
the
we
origin.
decide. You guys actually get to decide at the end.
This is
the
our-
the listeners get to decide if
Anarchism.
Woo!
Woo!
Should we live in a state of anarchy? As an example, my life. Wait, that's literally like. I mean, this is the joke I made. We were like, just go buy your own fucking land and have anarchy. So from this point on, this house is going to be in a state of anarchy. It's going to be our own little slice of anarchy. We're not going to pay the bills. We're not going to. We're going to shut ourselves off, and I'll let you know how it goes. Anyway, this is an Anarchist Monday, subtitled "My Roommate the Anarchist." God help us.
Cheers.